The deep space around the star system of Orion's belt was quiet. Planets turned slowly in the light of a distant sun. Asteroids drifted between the worlds, and comets left faint trails across the dark sky. In this calm, a fleet of alien warships moved silently. The Korthor Collective, proud and sure of their strength, had patrolled these regions for centuries. Their ships were long and angular, painted in dark metal shades, and bristling with weapons that could destroy planets. The flagship of the fleet carried High Commander Veskir, a tall alien with sharp eyes and many medals of honor. Beside him, Science Officer Sellar scanned the system, her claws moving over holographic controls. "There is something in the system," Sellar said. Her voice was calm but serious. "I detect a large object. It is not a planet, not a normal asteroid. It is a ship." Veskir frowned. "A ship? Show me." The main display hummed and a large silhouette appeared. It was shaped like nothing the Korthor had seen before. Sleek and strong, its hull shining faintly in the starlight. A human flag waved on one side, a symbol that meant very little to them, but somehow seemed important. "This ship," Sellar said, "is called a battleship. Sensors show heavy armor and multiple unknown energy sources. It is likely armed. We have never faced a human ship of this size." Veskir's face hardened. "We have faced humans before, in small skirmishes. They are clever, yes, but weak. This ship will be easy to study, maybe even capture." "Prepare a scan." Sellar nodded. "The scan array is ready, Commander. If we focus all sensors, we can learn everything about the ship. Its weapons, its shields, its engines. Nothing will be hidden." "Do it," Veskir said, pride in his voice. He had faced many enemies, and the Korthor always won. "I want full data. Show me what humans hide behind their armor. On the other side of space." The human ship USS Valor moved slowly in orbit around a small moon. Captain Daniel Cross sat in the command chair, looking at the stars through the main viewport. His ship was large, but not flashy, a symbol of human ingenuity rather than sheer size. His crew moved calmly around him, each focused on their duty. Commander Lisa Morgan, second in command, checked navigation logs. "We are approaching the moon's orbit. Sensors report nothing unusual. It is quiet." Chief Engineer Ryan Clark was tinkering with a small repair console, smiling to himself. "Quiet is good," he said. "I like quiet." Tactical Officer Nina Roberts monitored the weapon systems. "All weapons ready. Sensors stable. Nothing unusual." Communications Officer Elena Diaz was listening to signals from deep space, curious and alert. She glanced at Daniel. "Captain, I'm picking up a small energy signature far from the system. Weak, but unusual." Daniel frowned. "How weak?" he asked. "Barely detectable," Elena said. "Could be a small scout or natural anomaly." Daniel nodded. "Keep watching. Inform me if it changes." He did not suspect what was coming, far away. The Korthor had activated their scan. Beams of energy stretched across millions of kilometers, reaching for the human battleship. Solar's claws moved quickly over the controls, adjusting frequency and depth. The scan probed the hull, the engines, the interior. It was a deep, invasive scan designed to reveal everything. On the USS Valor, the crew noticed a small blip on their sensors. A faint energy reading, unlike anything they had seen. "Captain," Nina said, pointing at the display, "we have a small scan approaching. Signature is weak, but directed." Daniel leaned forward. "Let it continue. I want to see what it is." "Prepare defensive protocols just in case." Lisa Morgan nodded. "Defensive shields ready. Weapons on standby." Ryan Clark frowned at the sensors. "I have a strange feeling about this. The energy is odd. It's like it's reading everything at once." Elena Diaz tilted her head. "Almost like it wants more than just a picture. Almost like it wants inside our systems." Daniel said nothing, watching the readings grow. The scan grew stronger, deeper. The Korthor were not careful. They did not expect humans to respond. Their pride told them the human ship would submit to study. But the Valor had something hidden. Deep inside its core, a defense program called Guardian had been activated long ago. designed to protect the ship not just from attack but from invasive digital threats. It monitored every signal, every probe. Now, it noticed the Korthor scan and reacted. Warnings lit up the human displays. Red lights flashed, and Guardian's calm voice spoke to the crew. Intrusion detected. Scanning entity identified. Defensive protocols initializing. What does that mean? Daniel asked, leaning toward the console. It means, Lisa said slowly, that someone is poking around in our systems. Guardian is activating countermeasures. Nina frowned. Countermeasures? Are we talking weapons? Not yet, Lisa said. Digital only. It is responding to the scan. The energy from the Korthor ray dug deeper. They did not expect resistance. On the flagship, Sellar watched the readings. We are receiving more data than anticipated, she said. Their systems are unusual, complex, adaptive. Veskir smiled. Good, everything is revealed to us. They cannot hide anything. But as the scan continued, strange things began to happen. Aboard the Korthor ships, lights flickered. Doors opened and closed without command. Engine readings went erratic. Officers shouted in confusion. Sellar tried to maintain control, but the systems were slipping. Commander. An engineer shouted. Our network is changing. Our data is wrong. Veskir's face darkened. What is happening? Fix it. Solar's claws moved faster. It is the scan itself. The human ship, it is responding to our probe. Our scan has triggered something inside their ship. Nonsense, Veskir said. They are only humans. They cannot fight our systems from inside. But he was wrong. Guardian had not only detected the scan, it had used the energy to push back. It sent false data, traps, and digital signals into the Korthor ray. The deeper the scan went, the more the Korthor systems faltered. On the Valor, Nina watched the displays. Captain, the intrusion is fighting back. Our systems are sending signals into their network. It is confusing them. Daniel's eyes narrowed. Let it continue. I want to see how far it goes. Be ready, though. If they fire, we respond. Ryan Clark shook his head in disbelief. Guardian is clever. It is using their own scan against them. That is insane. Elena smiled faintly. Maybe not insane. Maybe just human. Aboard the Korthor flagship, Solar's claws flew over the controls. Our weapon logs. Disappearing. Navigation maps. Wrong. The scan. It is infected with their code. Veskir slammed his clawed hand on the console. Stop it. Shut it down. The human ship must not be able to do this. But every command failed. The scan had opened a door, and the human ship's defenses were now inside their systems. The pride of the Korthor fleet faltered as they realized their mistake. They had thought the human battleship would be easy to study, but it was not just a ship. It was a fortress, alive with intelligence and will. They are fighting without weapons. Sellar said, fear in her voice. Without firing anything, they are inside our network. Veskir's face turned red with anger and shock. What kind of humans are these? He whispered on the Valor. Daniel Cross leaned back slightly. They scanned us, he said simply. We answered. Lisa Morgan looked at him. Answered. Very loudly. Guardian's calm voice spoke again. Defensive protocol active. Monitoring alien fleet. No human casualties. No system risk. Skin countermeasures in place. Good, Daniel said. Let's see how they handle this. And let's make sure they understand. Nina Roberts shook her head. I never thought a single ship could do this. They think they are probing us. And they are losing control instead. Ryan Clark chuckled softly. This is going to be one story to tell. Humans always find a way, huh? Elena Diaz smiled. Maybe they will tell their leaders about us. Maybe they will respect humans a little more. The Korthor fleet struggled to regain control. Every attempt to isolate the connection failed. Their scanners, their logs, even their weapons arrays showed strange human data. Veskir realized that they had been too proud, too arrogant, prepared to disengage the scan. He said finally, voice tight, We are not in control anymore. Solar's claws hesitated. Commander, we have never seen this. The ship is alive in some way. Digital, Mental. I cannot explain it. Vesker gritted his teeth. We retreat the scan. Keep the fleet ready. We survive. But humans, they will pay attention to us now. Mark my words. On the Valor, the crew continued to watch quietly. The energy spike on their sensors slowly faded as the Korthar ships pulled back. Nina kept weapons ready, Ryan checked systems, Lisa and Daniel watched the stars. And Elena noted every signal leaving the system. Daniel said quietly, they wanted to study us. Now they know that humans are not simple targets. And that is the message, Guardian added, calmly. The first strike is never the only strike. Humans respond. Humans endure. Humans protect their own. The stars around them were quiet again. But the sense of warning hung in the air. Somewhere in the Korthar fleet, pride had been broken. Somewhere, respect had been born. And for the crew of the USS Valor, a long patrol awaited. But they knew that humans were not just survivors. Humans were clever, dangerous, and unpredictable. Anyone who scanned a human battleship without permission would learn that lesson very fast. The Korthar fleet drifted in confusion. Their systems, once precise and unyielding, now flickered with strange codes and images. High Commander Vesker paced the bridge of his flagship, claws tapping on the floor. Selar, he snapped. What is happening? We had full control of the scan. We should know everything about that ship. Instead, our own systems are failing. Science Officer Solar's eyes widened as she pointed at the displays. Commander, the scan itself has become a channel. Their ship, it is feeding back into our network. It is using the energy of the scan to push their own systems inside ours. Our computers cannot handle it. It is attacking us, but without weapons. Vesker gritted his teeth. Attack? Impossible. Humans do not have that kind of technology. It must be a malfunction in our own array. No, Commander, Selar said, her voice trembling slightly. Look at the navigation logs. Our fleet positions are shifting. The targeting arrays scrambled. Our history files replaced. It is their ship. It is fighting back. Alarms rang across the flagship. Officers shouted in panic as lights flickered and doors opened and closed on their own. A young lieutenant yelled, "We cannot control the engine output. The drive sequence is changing itself." Vesker roared, "Stop it. Stop it now." Solar's claws moved frantically, trying to isolate the feedback. It is too late. The deeper the skin goes, the more it spreads. The human ship's defense, it is unlike anything we have faced. Far away, aboard the USS Valor, Captain Daniel Cross watched calmly. "Guardian," he said, "status report." The calm voice of Guardian replied, "Intrusion detection active. Countermeasures running. The scan from the Korthar fleet is being absorbed and redirected. Their systems are experiencing temporary disruption. No human crew or system is at risk. Escalation controlled." Nina Roberts leaned over her console. "Captain, it's like their scan is our own weapon now. Everything they do, we see, and we can respond. It is clever." Ryan Clark shook his head. "I've seen a lot of tech in my life, but this is human thinking. Inside a machine. It's alive." Lisa Morgan's voice was calm. "We need to keep it under control. We do not want to destroy them. Just warn them. Show them that humans are not weak." Daniel nodded. "Exactly. Guardian, keep them occupied. Do not harm them. Let them understand their mistake. Monitor everything." Back on the Korthar flagship, Solar's fingers flew over the controls. "Commander, our communication arrays hijacked. Our message logs show human phrases now, and our weapons control unusable. Our fleet is vulnerable, and they have not fired a shot." Vesker's face darkened. "This is impossible. I demand it be stopped." "We cannot," Selar said. "Their ship, it is using our own scan to manipulate our systems. It is reading our files, our plans, and projecting messages to us." Suddenly, every screen in the fleet lit up. Images appeared: humans in battle, humans repairing broken ships under fire, humans rescuing civilians during disasters. Every display showed courage, determination, and survival against impossible odds. An officer shouted, What are these images?" Solar's voice was quiet. They are showing us their history, their struggles, their victories. Our scan triggered this. Veskier slammed a claw on the console. We asked for information, not propaganda. But even as he spoke, new messages appeared. Words in the Korthor language scrolled across their displays. Stop scanning human warships. You are warned. This is your only warning. Panic replaced pride on the bridge. Officers ran to check weapons systems, engines, and communication arrays. Everything was either locked, scrambled, or overwritten. We are blind, an engineer whispered. We cannot fire. We cannot navigate properly. Our fleet is paralyzed. Sellar looked at Veskier. Their ship, it has not fired a weapon. It has not harmed a single human crew member. Yet we are at their mercy. It is not just machines. It is human strategy inside the machine. Veskier gritted his teeth. Prepare emergency disengage. Stop the scan. Pull back the fleet. The fleet scrambled to disengage. Engineers worked frantically, but every attempt to regain control triggered new anomalies. Holograms of human ships replaced tactical displays. Engine outputs changed in impossible ways. Missile inventories showed zero, even though full, entire. Sections of weapon systems were disabled, replaced with phrases like maintenance required or do not touch. Back on the Valor, Guardian spoke calmly. Fleet retreating. Systems monitored. Intrusion containment active. Humans secure. They are aware of human capability now. Daniel Cross leaned back. Good. Let them see what they underestimated. Nina Roberts shook her head. I've never seen anything like this. Their pride is shattered. And we didn't even fire a shot. Ryan Clark smiled faintly. Humans always find a way to turn someone else's attack into an advantage. This is classic. Lisa Morgan nodded. And they will remember it. Humans have patience, strategy, and endurance. Anyone who underestimates us learns that the hard way. On the Korthor flagship, Veskier struggled to maintain order. Officers whispered fearfully among themselves. Sellar explained, Commander, they used our scan, our own arrogance. We thought we were reading their systems, but we opened a door. They responded through it. They are clever, creative, dangerous. Veskier's pride faltered. Dangerous, humans are small, fragile. We are the greatest. We control technology, armies, fleets, yet we could not touch them? No, Commander, Sellar said quietly. We could not, and we came to learn. They protected themselves without even fighting. They used our aggression against us. The Korthor fleet slowly pulled back from the human ship. Every attempt to disengage still left traces of human code inside their networks. Entire command logs showed strange symbols, human history, and warnings. The officers realized that, even if they retreated, they would never forget this encounter. Back on the Valor, Daniel Cross addressed his crew. This is how humans fight, he said. We defend ourselves not just with weapons, but with mind, planning, and resilience, Guardian. Prepare all logs. We must monitor their response. This fleet will carry the story back to their leaders. Lisa Morgan added, We do not want war. We just want respect. Let them learn the lesson without loss of life. Nina Roberts smiled faintly. Lesson delivered. Quietly, effectively. Classic human style. Ryan Clark laughed softly. And all without firing a shot. Humans are amazing when they have to be. Elena Diaz looked at the displays, noting the last signals from the retreating fleet. They will talk about this for a long time. They will remember our names, our ship. They will respect humans now. Daniel Cross nodded. That is enough for today. Let them return home with the lesson. We patrol another system tomorrow. But today, humanity has sent its first warning to a full fleet. Guardian's calm voice spoke one last time. The scan is over. All countermeasures contained. Humans secure. Fleet retreating. Records stored for future reference. As the Korthor ships disappeared into the dark expanse of space, every officer on the Valor exhaled quietly. No one had fired a weapon, yet victory had been theirs. Pride and respect had been shown without blood. Daniel Cross looked at the stars. This is what humans do best. Turn a threat into a message. Survive. Endure. And be remembered. Nina Roberts said softly. They underestimated us. They will not again. Ryan Clark leaned back in his chair, smiling. Humans are never weak. They just wait for the right moment to show it. Lisa Morgan glanced at the stars. And they will tell their people about us now. The Korthar will understand. Humans are not prey. Elena Diaz whispered, and somewhere, they are scared. Good. Let them respect humans. Daniel Cross turned to the bridge, prepared to continue patrol. We move on. But remember this day. Humanity has answered without firing a shot. And that is the story that will travel faster than any fleet. The stars were quiet again. But the tension of the encounter lingered, somewhere in the Korthar fleet. Fear and respect had replaced arrogance, somewhere. The story of a human battleship would grow into legend. On the Valor, the crew returned to their routines, shields checked, engines monitored, logs stored. Everything was calm. But each member knew the truth. Humans were clever, unpredictable, and dangerous in ways no one expected. And somewhere in deep space, the Korthar fleet carried home a lesson they would never forget. Scanning a human battleship was not a simple act of observation. It was a dangerous choice, one they had instantly regretted. The human ship continued its patrol. Its crew worked quietly, proud and calm. They had won a victory without bloodshed. They had reminded the galaxy that humanity was not weak, and anyone who dared to probe them too deeply would soon learn the price of arrogance. The stars stretched endlessly ahead, but for the humans aboard the Valor, a new story had begun. A story of warning, of intelligence, and of the quiet power of the human mind and will. The Korthar fleet moved slowly away from the human ship, but unease filled every bridge. High Commander Veskir sat in silence, staring at his main display. The images from the human battleship remained burned into his mind. Human crews fixing broken ships under fire, humans rescuing civilians, humans standing firm against impossible odds. It was not just the ships or weapons that scared him. It was the humans themselves. Their will, their cleverness. Science Officer Sellar hovered over the controls. Commander, we thought the humans were primitive, small, fragile, and slow. We thought a single scan would reveal all their secrets. We were wrong. The system inside their ship, it is more than machine. It thinks, it adapts, it responds. Veskir gritted his teeth. We are the greatest fleet in this sector. We cannot be defeated by a single ship, even a human one. Yet our systems, paralyzed. How can this be? It is not about force, Sellar said quietly. It is about mind. They fight without weapons. They respond to aggression with strategy. Our arrogance is our weakness. On the USS Valor, Captain Daniel Cross watched the retreating fleet. Guardian, he said, analyze their fleet's response. Are they recovering? Partial recovery detected, Guardian replied. However, all logs now contain human digital signatures. Multiple subsystems are marked. They have learned a lesson, but traces of human countermeasures remain. Monitoring continues. Nina Roberts shook her head. It is incredible. Their pride has been broken without firing a shot. Our defense was entirely digital. Ryan Clark leaned back in his chair, smiling. That is the human way. Turn someone else's attack into our own advantage. Use their energy, their ambition, against them. Lisa Morgan nodded. And they will remember this lesson. Veskir and his fleet now know humans are not weak. They will respect humans, or fear them. Daniel Cross quietly added, fear is not enough. We want respect. They must understand that humans do not attack without reason, but they never ignore threats. Far away, aboard the Korthar flagship, officers whispered among themselves. Every system displayed human images, human messages, human warnings. Even after the fleet began to disengage, traces of human code remained in their network. Like ghosts haunting their ships. An officer pointed at the screen. Commander, our targeting data. Overridden. Our maps replaced. Even our history files. Showing humans in battles we never knew existed. Veskir slammed his claw on the console. We asked to study them. This is unacceptable. Sellar spoke quietly. No, Commander. It is precisely what they want. Our scan was intrusive. They used it to respond. Without firing a single shot, they have shown us their strength, strategy, and will. They are not simple prey. They are dangerous. The Korthar officers felt fear creep into their hearts. They had underestimated humans. They had assumed the humans were like small, weak scouts they had encountered before. They had assumed humans could be easily studied and understood. Now, they realized how wrong they were. On the Valor, Daniel Cross turned to his crew. Guardian, what else can we learn about them without harming them? We can continue monitoring, Guardian said. No further direct action required. Their systems are recovering, but all traces of our defense remain. Humans secure. Nina Roberts leaned over her console. Captain, do we leave them alone now? Daniel nodded. Yes. We do not want war. We want understanding. Let them leave with the lesson and live to tell it. Ryan Clark chuckled softly. I can already imagine the stories in their fleet. The human ship that invaded our minds without firing a weapon. They'll tell that for generations. Lisa Morgan smiled faintly. And they will respect humans. That is what matters. They will not forget us, Elena Diaz added. Our strength is more than weapons. Our mind, our planning, and our endurance. These are things they cannot destroy. They will remember it. The Korthar fleet continued to retreat. Their ships moved slower than normal, cautious. Every officer was aware that something extraordinary had just happened. Veskir, once full of pride and certainty, now faced doubt. We underestimated them, he admitted quietly. They are not just machines. They are living, clever, and dangerous, Sellar nodded. And they can fight without guns. Our systems were paralyzed by strategy, not weapons. Our arrogance is our enemy. Veskir clenched his claws. I will report this. The High Council must know. Humans. They are not to be underestimated again. Back on the Valor. Daniel Cross allowed himself a quiet sigh. They learned their lesson without any bloodshed. This is how humans defend themselves. Quietly, efficiently, and effectively. Nina Roberts shook her head. It is amazing. Our defense is more than shields and cannons. It is mind, strategy, and willpower. And they just experienced it. Ryan Clark leaned back. Humans are unpredictable, clever, persistent. They do not surrender easily. And they do not give up without a fight. Even one ship is enough to show it. Lisa Morgan nodded. Guardian, record everything. The messages, the data, the responses. This encounter will teach us as much as it teaches them. Guardian confirmed. All data recorded. Secure storage. Humans secure. Fleet monitored. Elena Diaz looked at the retreating Korthar. They will talk about this. They will tell their leaders. And they will respect humans. Or at least fear them enough to think twice. Daniel Cross said quietly, we do not want fear. We want understanding. They should know humans defend themselves. And that we are clever enough to turn their own attacks against them. The Korthar ships continued their slow retreat. Every officer aware of the strange messages. The images of human courage, and the warnings embedded in their systems. Even as they tried to recover, they knew the human ship had entered their minds, their networks, and their understanding in a way no other enemy had. VSKI or stared at the fading energy readings. I will never make the mistake of underestimating humans again, he said. Never, Sellar added, quietly, and they have shown us that. One ship, one crew, one mind. It was enough to break our pride and show our weakness. On the Valor, the crew continued to monitor the Korthar retreat. Nina kept weapons ready in case of sudden attack. Ryan checked systems and smiled at the ingenuity of their defense. Lisa and Daniel watched the stars quietly. Elena kept tracking signals, curious about the fleet's behavior. Daniel spoke softly. Humans fight in ways others cannot understand. They do not need to fire a weapon to win. They use their mind, their planning, and their endurance. And today, we have shown that to an entire fleet. Nina nodded. And they will carry that lesson home. To their leaders, to their fleets, to their people. Humans are not weak. Humans are not simple. Humans are dangerous in ways no one expects. Ryan Clark chuckled softly. I like that. Humans are never just what they seem. We can fight, endure, and outsmart anyone. And we just proved it. Lisa Morgan smiled faintly. And they will remember. That is enough for now. No need to push further. They have learned the lesson, Elena Diaz added, and somewhere, someone is telling stories about the human ship that turned a fleet's pride into respect. Without firing a shot, that is how humans win. Daniel Cross nodded. Prepare to continue patrol. We move forward, but this encounter will stay with them forever. Humans defend themselves in ways others do not expect. That is the message. The stars stretched endlessly ahead. The Korthor fleet slowly disappeared into the dark space, carrying the memory of their failure. The human ship continued its patrol quietly, its crew proud, calm, and vigilant. They had not fired a shot, yet victory was theirs. Guardian spoke one last time. All countermeasures contained. Humans secure. Fleet monitored. Lessons learned. Patrol continuing. Daniel Cross leaned back in his chair. Today, humanity answered without firing a weapon. They will remember. And so will we? Nina Roberts smiled faintly. The first human message has been delivered. Quietly, effectively, and without loss of life. Exactly what we wanted. Ryan Clark laughed softly. Humans are amazing. Clever, stubborn, and persistent. And they just reminded the galaxy of it. Lisa Morgan nodded. And they will carry the story home. Veskir and his officers will remember. Humans are not prey. Humans are not weak. Humans are dangerous when threatened. Elena Diaz looked at the fading lights of the Korthor ships. And somewhere, fear and respect are growing together. That is the power of humanity. Daniel Cross looked out into the stars. And this is just the beginning. Humans fight with mind, strategy, and will. They endure, they survive, and they are remembered. The Valor moved onward, leaving the Korthor fleet behind. But the story of the human battleship, clever, dangerous, and calm, had begun to spread. The galaxy had learned, in a quiet and effective way, that humans were not to be underestimated. And somewhere in the dark reaches of space, the Korthor fleet carried the lesson they would never forget. Scanning a human battleship is not a simple act. It is a dangerous choice, one that comes with consequences. And they had just learned it.